Welcome everyone. We start the second and the last day here in Spark 2013. We're going to talk with Mark Summer. He has been working in African telecentres, right?
Yes.
And he is going to tell us his experience there and also in Inveneo, your new enterprise. What is Inveneo? Tell us a little bit.
Inveneo is a non-profit organization. We're based in San Francisco, California, and our goal is to connect those who need it most, which is communities and individuals in rural areas of the developing world. So mostly sub-Saharan Africa, but we work as well in places like Haiti or Micronesia. And our goal is really to connect those communities who are outside of the cities and traditional coverage areas with computing and connectivity so they can participate in the global dialogue and have access to all the resources we take for granted every day.
You will have a speech later, a little bit later.
Yesterday, actually.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. And what have you been talking there?
I talked a little bit about the situation, how we see it in sub-Saharan Africa, where now that more and more connectivity is becoming available, and it's easier to set up computers in places where there is no power using solar and other power types, that we see more and more telecentres, or often they're called community knowledge centres in Africa, come about, and how they can be part of the innovation cycle. How really you can take the telecentre as the centre for innovation in the community, where like-minded people come together, where technologists work together with the communities, access resources on the internet, and can collaborate worldwide with other telecentres or other interested parties to really address the problems of the community locally, directly, rather than having to wait for government or NGOs to provide solutions.
How is the telecentre net in Africa? There is a lot of work to do yet, or?
Definitely. I think the key is to link the African telecentres to strong telecentre networks here in Europe, Latin America and other places, so they can learn from each other. I think both sides have to learn from each other, but there's a lot of experience with business models in Europe and in other places which will really benefit the African telecentre network. And I think the African telecentre networks are really starting to grow now more and more as it becomes easier to set up telecentres.
What means innovation for you?
Innovation is really looking at a problem I have locally in my community and how I can address this in a different way. I think innovation needs to be done locally by local people who understand their local problems. It's very hard to innovate from afar because you don't understand the actual problem and you don't know what resources you have. So innovation is a local process, but it requires people to think differently and out of the box. So the telecentre can provide that physical space where people get together and are free to think differently about their problems and research other solutions online and communicate with people who have tried to address these problems.
Can you tell us any innovative ideas that telecentres have made possible?
I think we are seeing, for example, when you look at sanitation and power and things like this, telecentres can really be in the community an innovator in that context by having access to those resources on the internet and through discussion groups and so forth. So we're seeing, solar power take more and more often. I think telecentres have a role to play in that. Sanitation and water purification, small-scale ideas can be really found online, and you see telecentres as being the hub of that.
Why do you think that Spark is important or necessary?
I think it's great to see everyone come together and see you're not by yourself, but there's a whole group of people, individuals, organizations who are having the same problems you're going through and the same challenges, and some of them have solved them, others are learning how to solve them. So building the community is, I think, really important. So being able to get together once a year in a spot with so many people is a great thing.
Thank you very much, Mark, for giving us your point of view. And
thank you very much.
Because we're going to continue with more interviews.